protein supplements are not steroids. Hi guys, and welcome to a new video from the macronutrient series. Today we are going to talk about protein. Before starting this video, I'd like to announce you that I've launched a free nutrition and training plan for weight loss. Check the link in the description and get access to it. Also, in the first video of my channel, I introduced a true or false question at the end of the video. But because probably nobody said until the end, from now I'll put it at the beginning of every video. The true or false question of this video stays the same, and that is, don't eat after 6 p.m. if you want to lose weight. Please leave your answers in the comments. I'm really curious to see what you think about that. Protein is the most loved macronutrient by most fitness enthusiasts, and to be honest, for good reasons, which we'll see later in this video. But for now, let's start with the basics. Protein is one of the 3 macronutrients and is the building block of life. Basically, every cell of our human body contains protein. The structure of a protein is a chain of amino acids. These amino acids are divided into 3 categories. The first category, essential amino acids, are those that our bodies need from food and can't synthesize. Second, we have non-essential amino acids, which are those that our bodies can synthesize. And third, conditional amino acids is one category that you don't hear very often about, which is needed in different health conditions. When it comes to types of food proteins, there are complete proteins and incomplete proteins. The complete protein food sources are those that contain all 9 amino acids, which are histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan, and valine. Complete proteins are usually those from animal sources, such as meat, dairy, and eggs. There are also some plant sources that contain complete proteins, such as soy, buckwheat, and quinoa. Incomplete proteins come from seeds, nuts, veggies, whole grains, and legumes in the form of peas, beans, and lentils. Now let's see, what types of protein should we choose? When it comes to protein sources, it's important to focus as much as possible on getting complete proteins, but also have some incomplete proteins. It's good to have a mix. And that's because those incomplete protein sources will also come with some additional nutrients which the complete sources may not have. I also want to address one more aspect here. For omnivores, it's quite easy to get their daily protein intake, but for vegans, it's a bit of a struggle. Because there are not many plant proteins that are complete, an option for vegans would be to combine 2 incomplete protein sources such as beans and rice or nuts with whole grains in order to form a complete protein meal. The reason why it's hard to get your daily intake of protein from plants is because most of them are quite low in calories and you'd have to eat a high quantity of food to hit your protein intake. A solution in this case would be to use a plant protein powder, which has usually around 70 to 80 grams of protein per 100 grams of product. And now as we are done with that, an important thing to remember is to try and choose your protein sources from unprocessed foods mainly. Why am I saying that? Because there's a large body of evidence showing that processed foods are associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease, obesity, dyslipidemia, and some forms of cancers. Try to choose lean meat instead of a fatty one, choose dairies lower in fat, but also be mindful of those that replace the fat from the product with sugar. Let's take this for example. As we can see, this is a fat-free yogurt, but if you look at the ingredients list, it has 7% added sugar in it. This is a common practice that manufacturers use. After they remove the fat from the yogurt, they need to replace it with something to give flavor to the product, and that is sugar. I'm not saying that you should not eat sugar at all, but eating sugar without knowing that you eat sugar is not really nice. So next time, please check the labels before buying. But why is protein so important that we are even talking about it? One of the main reasons is that protein is the most important macronutrient if you want to build or maintain muscle mass. Okay, but in this case, how much protein should we get daily? Currently, the recommended dietary intake for people who exercise is between 1.6 and 2 grams per kilogram of body weight when you are in a muscle building phase, and going even to 2.2-2.5 grams per kilogram of body weight when you are in a fat loss phase. The protein requirements are higher in a fat loss phase because we are also more likely to lose muscle mass, so we want to maintain it. Another interesting point is how much protein should we have per meal. There have been many debates around this topic, and I've heard many people spreading the myth that you cannot absorb more than 40 grams of protein per meal, and that is totally wrong. Your body will absorb all of it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your body will use all of it for building muscle mass. The researchers Dr. Brad Schoenfeld and Dr. Alan Aragon actually did a study review to see how much protein we need per meal to maximize hypertrophy, muscle building. and they concluded that we should consume 0.4 grams of protein per kilogram per meal across a minimum of 4 meals. For example, if your body weight is 80 kilograms, you should consume 32 grams of protein per meal across 4 meals during the day to maximize muscle gains. Also, if we are in a fat loss phase and we have a higher protein requirement, we should aim to consume 0.55 grams of protein per kilogram per meal across a minimum of 4 meals. In this case, if your body weight is 80 kilograms, you should have 44 grams of protein per meal across 4 meals during the day to maintain muscle mass. However, the most important is to focus on reaching your daily protein intake target, and then we can start to look at the timing of protein. Besides being crucial in building and maintaining muscle, protein also helps to increase your satiety levels. But why do we care so much about satiety? Well, satiety is a very important aspect of a fat loss phase. When you are in a calorie deficit, you want as much as possible to stay in that calorie deficit and stick to the calories recommended for you to lose weight. But very often, because we eat less food, we also get less energy, and at some point our hunger levels go up. Studies show that protein is more satiating than carbohydrate or fat. This means that especially in a fat loss phase, moderately increasing protein can promote satiety, decrease our hunger levels, and therefore help us to stay in that calorie deficit easier. Another benefit of protein is offered by the fact that it has the highest thermogenic effect. Thermogenesis, or the thermic effect of food, is defined as the energy needed to digest, absorb, and dispose of ingested nutrients. This refers to the calories our bodies burn for the digestion and absorption of foods. Fat has a thermogenic effect of 0 to 3%, carbohydrate has a thermogenic effect of 5 to 10%, and protein has the highest thermogenic effect of all, 20 to 30%. Now, as we've seen the benefits of protein, let's talk a bit about protein supplements. And I'll start by saying that protein supplements are not steroids. I think it's important to mention that because many people still believe that if they use protein supplements, they will become Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah, buddy! It's on now! Go!
And that's simply not true. But first, let's see. Do we need protein supplements? And the answer to that is yes and no. It depends very much on your preferences and on your situation. I like to explain this to my clients by looking at the definition of the word supplement. A supplement is a thing added to something else in order to complete or enhance it. Therefore, try to focus first on getting your protein from foods, and if you can't reach your daily target intake, you can use a protein supplement. For example, if you think about convenience, a protein supplement may be a useful tool for you. Let's say you are at work and you want to have a meal. It may be more convenient for you to have a protein shake instead of eating 100 grams of chicken breast. But again, it depends very much on your preferences. If you are fine with taking a food casserole with you at work, that's fine. Also, if your daily protein requirement for your goal is quite high, let's say 200 grams of protein per day, it may be hard to get all your protein only from food. And that's because the quantity of the food you would have to eat would be too high and you couldn't physically eat that much. And in this case, you could get only 170 or 180 grams of protein from your food and get the rest from a protein shake. But again, I want to mention that it depends very much on the individual. I know people that can eat a lot and have no problems. If you're asking me, I personally use protein supplements as you've seen in the beginning of the video, but still I try to get most of my protein from foods. As a summary, today we talked about what is protein and what are the types of protein, what are the protein sources, what are the benefits of protein, and should we use a supplement or not. I hope that now the protein subject is clear for you and you know how to optimize your protein intake to maximize muscle gains or maintain muscle mass. If you have any questions, guys, leave them in the comments, and if you need more help, you can always get in touch with me by sending me an email. Now, as we are heading to the end, don't forget to press the subscribe button, like the video if you really find value in my content, share the video with a friend who may find it helpful, and until the next time, I'm out.